I came back, not to punish you, but to remind you what love could have been. My name is Adaobi, and this was my story. I hail from a village called Umuoji, where the soil was red and the wind carried secrets. The elders always said that not every death is the end. Some souls return not to haunt or take revenge, but to finish what was left undone. Most people heard this and laughed it off. But that was before Chimamanda was born. Long before Chimamanda took her first breath, I, Adaobi, lived. I am the daughter of Papa Madu, a humble yet respected farmer. My mother, Neka, died giving birth to me, and so I was cradled in sorrow but raised in gentleness. My father poured his whole heart into raising me, and our bond was deep and unshakable. I was a girl of quiet strength, a balm to those in pain. My voice, soft and lyrical, carried through the trees, and many said the wind paused to listen when I sang. Children sought my presence. Elders trusted my words. My father loved me fiercely, with a tenderness no one could question. But love, so sweet and warm, can stir dark emotions in the hearts of others. When I was 7, my father remarried. His new wife, Ngozi, came with her daughter, Amaka, a shy, clumsy girl who always trailed behind me like a forgotten shadow. At first, our home remained peaceful. But as I grew and began to shine, so did Ngozi's resentment. The village spoke of my gifts, my wisdom, my kindness. Even Amaka, her own daughter, admired me, perhaps more than she ever admired her mother. Ngozi grew bitter. The more people loved me, the more she loathed me. She couldn't understand how I glowed from within, how the light followed me wherever I walked. When talks began about sending me to apprentice with a renowned herbalist because of my healing gifts, something within her cracked. Then one evening, while my father was away working at a distant farm, she offered me a cup of warm tea, laced not with comfort but with quiet destruction. Herbs meant to weaken, meant to silence. My strength faded slowly, my laughter dimmed, my head ached and my body weakened. And before anyone could realize what had been done, I slipped away into the silence of night, into the sleep from which there is no waking. I departed, wrapped in the same warmth I had once given freely to others. The village mourned for weeks. My father, Papa Madu, was never the same again. Amaka cried, confused and heartbroken. And Ngozi, she said nothing. She told herself it was just jealousy, just one mistake. But deep inside, guilt grew like a vine, choking her from within. Time passed. Seasons shifted. Then came the drought. The skies refused to weep. Crops withered, rivers thinned. Even the Udala tree behind my father's compound stopped bearing fruit. People prayed, fasted, and waited for the rain that would not come. Until one night, thunder cracked open the sky. Rain fell in torrents, as if the heavens were mourning all over again. And in the middle of that rainstorm, Amaka, now a grown woman, went into labor inside the very hut where I had once lived and breathed. The baby arrived just before midnight. A girl. Her cry sliced through the storm like a melody long forgotten. They named her Chimamanda. My God will not fail. From her first glance, people sensed something extraordinary. She bore the same crescent-shaped birthmark on her left shoulder that I had carried. As she grew, she hummed songs no one had taught her, songs only I used to sing. She often wandered alone to the old Udala tree, placed her tiny palm against its bark, and smiled, as if remembering. The villagers began to whisper, "She has come back. That is Adaobi in another skin, the child of the rain." By the time she was 5, strange things happened. Chickens laid more eggs when she passed, wounds healed faster when she touched them. And whenever someone was in pain, Chimamanda would quietly hold their hand and hum a tune that seemed to pull sorrow out of the bones. Then, one afternoon, Ngozi came to visit. Chimamanda looked at her, eyes steady and ancient, and said gently, "I came back, not to punish, but to remind you what love could have been." Ngozi stumbled back, trembling. That night, sleep abandoned her. She heard my voice in the rustling leaves, felt my presence in the downpour, and saw my reflection in Chimamanda's bright, steady eyes. Not long after, broken by the weight of truth, she confessed. She came to Papa Madhu, now aged and weary, and fell to her knees. Her voice, fragile with regret, cracked like dry palm leaves. "I was jealous," she said, "and in my jealousy, I took her life." Papa Madhu didn't speak for a long time. Then he looked at Chimamanda and asked, "Do you remember?" Chimamanda nodded. "I remember her pain, but I also remember her love." From that day forward, Nuzi changed, truly changed. She spent her days caring for the vulnerable. She cooked for the sick, tended to the old, and helped raise young girls like a woman desperately reaching for redemption. And everywhere she went, she followed Chimamanda, not with authority but reverence, like a student learning from a teacher of the spirit. Chimamanda never sought revenge. She never once raised her voice. She carried joy like sunlight and lived as though she understood something the rest of the world had forgotten, that healing is more powerful than hatred. When the next August came and the rains returned again, the villagers gathered under the Udala tree. Chimamanda led a simple song, soft, beautiful, and familiar. As she sang, even the birds joined in. Ngozi stood behind her, tears running down her wrinkled cheeks, whispering, "Thank you, Adaobi. Thank you for coming back." In that moment, everyone in Umuoji believed, no longer just in stories, but in truth, that love can return, even through the rain, even through sorrow, even through the same hands that once destroyed it.